Islam and power to the people. We are here today, April 19th, 2026. Thank you for returning for another Council General, Attorney General study session with the Empire of Morocco. Sorry for the technical difficulty this morning, but the mother said, I don't want you starting until 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, as you all know, we have to listen to what Allah tells us to do. Um, Stay with me today, Moors. I don't want anybody to take any offense to what I'm going to be showing today for the state attorney generals. It's just going to be a lot of uh, evidentiary evidence regarding what's been going on with our empire of Morocco. So it's going to be a lot of reference points. So you're going to have to stay with me today. So what are we dealing with? What we're dealing with is an overbreach of power, a so-called overbreach of power within the empire of Morocco. So, what I'm going to pull up here for you is because you have to understand there is a difference between the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. There's a difference. But there's a clear government has been happening for centuries now. And there's a clear distinction on what each branch should be doing. A clear distinction. As we know, the legislative branch is a part of the government. As you know, the executive branch is a part of government. And then the judicial branch is to interpret the law. Because a lot of what people, when you always ask about the judicial branch, people be like, well, the judge's job is to enforce the law. Negative, wrong answer. The judicial branch is to interpret the law. That's the job. The attorney general's job as the chief legal officer of the Empire of Morocco is to absolutely enforce the law whenever somebody is breaching the law. Okay, so what you see that I have up here on my screen, it won't let me download it. But what I'm going to do is take this person's name here. Okay. This is a chief judge. Okay. Let's see what this chief judge, what they have going on with this chief judge. This particular judge here is being impeached. But this particular judge stepped outside of his judicial chambers to try to enforce something upon the president of the United States. Now, who is this judge's boss? So I want you to wrap your mind around this particular judge that you see. I want you to say, okay, this particular judge is J. Stephen Spencer. And then I want you to wrap your mind around that the guy to the right that you see, Trump, I want you to wrap your mind around as, okay, this guy is Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. Just in a governmental mindset. But if Brother Rashid, or if you're on, Can you please
Islam.
read? Can you please read what's happening right now with James E. Boysberg, United States District Court Chief Judge of District Columbia, please? Can you please read that up top for me, please?
Sir. The impeachment of James E. Boysberg, the Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, is a significant legislative action that has been pursued by the House of Representatives. The resolution was introduced on March 18, 2025, and has been referred to the Committee on the Judiciary. The impeachment resolution is based on allegations of high crimes and misdemeanors, including the use of judicial authority to advance political gain and interfere with the president's constitutional prerogatives.
Please stop and read that one more time.
The impeachment resolution is based on allegations of high crimes and misdemeanors, including the use of judicial authority to advance political gain and interfere with the president's constitutional prerogatives.
Now, this sounds like somebody that we dealing with by the name of Stephen. Because we ain't going to say no names, but the Moors know who I'm talking about. Just think back to Django. There was a house Negro by the name of Stephen. So Stephen, just like James E. Boysberg, decides that he's got more authority power from his judicial branch than the president of the so-called United States of America. Islam? Is this not what y'all dealing with today within the empire of Morocco Moors?
Yep.
See, so don't feel sorry for yourselves because it's happening all over the world. In every country, you got some so-called, mainly in most of the countries, you got some so-called judge that thinks that he's a higher authority than the government. Continue on, good brother. However, or the resolution is a simple one. Continue from there.
The resolution is a simple one, meaning it does not require a vote in the House and does not have the force of law. However, it is a formal step in the impeachment process and is expected to be considered by the Committee on the Judiciary before being sent to the House or Senate as a whole.
Hold on one second here. Did the Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir state for the record that he went to consult with the House? Didn't he say that? He said, I went to consult with the House.
He did.
Okay. You see on how things come right back around to you. Because these particular individuals, Stephen and his minions, are trying to, you want to try to use the so-called United States colonial courts? Okay. Not a problem. Let's get to on how the United States, y'all love the colonial court so much. Let's get to on how they dealing with an insubordinate judge. So I want to read this one last time to let the Moors know that when your Sultan went to consult with the House, it does not require a vote in the House and it does not have the force of law. So the House wasn't really needed when the Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir said, this is on how we're moving forward with this investigation. I'm just letting you guys, I'm just communicating and letting you know, but we know you ain't going to pick up the phone and try to deal with any issues. Now, that would be too much to ask. Instead, I'm going to run in my corner and don't pick up the phone and allow everything to get blown out of proportion because I don't want to do my job as a house, as the head of the house. Y'all know who I'm talking about, don't y'all? Give me an Islam if you know who I'm talking about.
Islam.
Now, we're talking legal.
Islam. Islam.
However, it is a formal step in the impeachment process and is expected to be considered by the committee on the judiciary before being sent to the House or Senate as a whole. This is called due process. So is James Boisberg gonna get his due process?
Yes.
Would Stephen had gotten his due process?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
man,
indeed.
here we go. See, nefarious activities always are being brought out. But Stephen did not want to go through the due process. He says that I'm above the law. Okay. Can you please let's read this. Let's read this here. It starts at Senator Eric Smith.
Senator Eric Smith called on House Republicans Tuesday to impeach District Judge James Boasberg after a federal appeals court ordered the jurist to end his criminal contempt probe against Trump administration officials.
Point of interest, I want you to wrap your mind around the Empire of Morocco as he's saying this. Every time he says Judge James Boasberg, I want you to think of Stephen. Every time he says Trump, I want you to think of Abdul Smith Al-Kabir because y'all are dealing with the same similar insubordinate remove judge named Stephen in the Empire of Morocco. Continue on, good brother. The
majority on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals found Boasberg efforts to bring contempt charges against former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and other top executive branch officials over their involvement in the deportation of hundreds of suspected Tren de Aragua gang members to El Salvador last March were a clear abuse of discretion, intrusive, and a legal dead end. The D.C. Circuit ruled Boasberg's contempt crusade against Trump officials is an improper investigation and clear abuse of discretion, Smith wrote on X. He tried to imprison Trump officials for deporting Venezuelan gang members. The senator continued, I'm calling on the House. Impeach rogue Judge Boasberg.
Now, didn't we try to call on the House for an investigation? Didn't we try to consult?
Yep.
Yes.
What did the House do? What did the former House do in the Empire of Morocco? Can somebody please tell me? Because I don't want nobody to think that I'm trying to, that it's just show based the Attorney General's, that's his unilateral thought process. Go ahead, Nationals.
They didn't communicate back, and they stopped all communication when they were notified.
Can you please say it one loud time so when our children listen to this, they'll know how to move forward? Please say it again.
Yeah, they ignored the notification, and then they stopped all communication thereafter.
Okay, we're talking legal state attorney generals. Y'all want to be state attorney generals, you got to put together a case. That's why you let people keep talking, state attorney generals, because the more people talk and the more they talk on their so-called impact study sessions, the more evidence you have. Please continue. Wazir Rashid, the House.
The House would launch an impeachment inquiry, likely headed by the House Judiciary Committee, and then draft and vote on articles of impeachment. If the House passes the articles of impeachment, the Senate would handle the impeachment trial and vote to convict or acquit the judge. It's unlikely the Senate will be able to muster the two-thirds majority necessary to convict Boasberg in the event he's impeached. In a separate post, Smith argued that Boasberg forced himself onto the case last March involving President Trump's use of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal Venezuelan migrants with alleged gang ties, just a few days after trying to foment a constitutional crisis at a judicial conference meeting. The senator was referring to comments the Obama-appointed judge allegedly made during a March 11 judicial conference attended by Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and other jurists. While there, Judge Boasberg attempted to improperly influence Chief Justice Roberts and roughly 24 other federal judges by straying from the traditional topics to express his belief that the Trump administration would disregard rulings of federal courts and trigger a constitutional crisis. Then, Justice Department officials Chad Mazzell wrote in a misconduct complaint filed last July with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia.
What happened to the Empire Morocco's judicial branch? Hold on one second. So you're trying to tell me that other judges? That's why I don't want any of the judges to take offense to what I'm doing today. While there, Judge Boasberg attempted to improperly influence Chief Justice Roberts. Also, was there some influencing going on in the United States judicial judge system? That's a question for the floor. Oh,
sounds like it.
You gotta have a stomach for this. Was there some improperly influencing going on in the Empire of Morocco's judicial system regarding Stephen and other members of the judicial branch within the Empire of Morocco? Was that happening, Chief Judge Cicero?
It was. Yeah.
That's a question for Chief Judge Cicero.
Yes, it was.
Yes, apparently it was, and yes, it was occurring quite often.
Okay. Now take in mind, not any of those judges should be trying to sway other judges for a political gain.
They should not.
His job is just to interpret the law, whether he likes it or not. See, this is an ego. Judge Boasberg got an ego like Stephen. See, that's why Stephen is going back to the United States, because he says, well, they understand me. The Moors don't understand me. So I'm going to go back to my slave master, sit with my cognac, and tell him why the Django is really on the plantation to come and save his wife. That's what I'm going to go tell my master, Stephen. That's what Stephen did. Smiling, going to one jurisdiction to a next. Remember the Django, Stephen, he in one. What's up, brother? How you doing, brother? And then going back to his slave master saying, oh, excuse my language, Floor and the Sultan and Prime, going back to his master saying, you know that nigga ain't shit. Don't let that nigga in the house. Stephen. This is what we're dealing with. I told you need to have a stomach. Can you finish us off, Wazir Rashid, please? Trump. Trump has previously slammed Boasberg.
Trump has previously slammed Boasberg as a grandstander and highly conflicted radical left judge who is attempting to usurp his presidential power. This judge should be impeached.
Stop. State attorney generals, are y'all sure y'all want to be state attorney generals? See, when your Sultan is letting you know about Stephen being a grandstander and a highly conflicted radical left judge who is attempting to usurp his Moroccan power in the empire of Morocco, people want to get in their feelings. People want to say, well, I don't want to hear about this anymore because it ain't happening to them. Because ain't nobody trying to come in your house and kick your door down and take your children. So you don't feel the full effect. Now we're talking legal now. I'm just giving you an example on what Stephen is doing. See, Stephen is learning all of his steps through, who did he say Stephen say he learned business through who? Who taught him business? Take yourselves off of mute, Morris. Who taught him business?
His handler. Dude who taught him mergers and
yeah, mergers and acquisition. Yeah, mergers and acquisition.
Okay. Yeah. This judge should be impeached. The president fumed in March 18, 2025, Truth Social Post. A spokesperson for the House Judiciary Committee, Chairman Jim Jordan, representative of Ohio, did not immediately respond to the Post request for comment. Everything's on the table. Jordan has previously remarked in response to questions about impeaching Boisberg. We're going to look at everything, all the tools that we have to let some of these judges know that the president and the Congress are separate but equal branches of government, Jordan has said, according to the Courthouse News Service. So why is it different in the Empire of Morocco? Who gave Stephen his power? The ignorance of the judicial and of the ignorance of the judicial, the legislation, and the executive branch. Your ignorance due to government is what got you dealing with Stephen. Oh yeah, I said it. If you don't like it, too bad. See, because I'm not in your political fight, Moors. I'm letting you know that your ignorance is who created Stephen. Your tail between your legs is who created Stephen. Didn't nobody want to step up on the recorded calls as he was saying that he was the producer? As he was saying that he didn't put this together. The Moors have been around since Prophet Noble Drew Ali has taught us that we've been Moroccan. You didn't put this together, Stephen. There was other brothers and sisters who went to jail and gave their lives for their nationality. Who are you to say? Who are you to say what you did? The government aspect it wasn't even brought through you, Stephen. You didn't write the 1906 Act of Algeciras. You didn't write the 1880 Treaty of Madrid. You didn't write the 1786 Peace of Friendship. You didn't do any of that. And what you did present as a so-called consultant, which you should have never been a consultant in the Empire of Morocco, this was ignorance on our part. But we shall deal with it. We shall deal with it. This is a belligerent baby that has grown up and started cussing out his mama and daddy in their house. So what my mother used to say is that go and get the white horse. You know what the white horse was? The extension cord. Mm-hmm. I got scars on my legs still today for being disobedient to my mother. This is a hard pill to swallow. But let me read this one last part to you again, Stephen and your minions. We're going to look at everything, all tools that we have to let some of these judges know, but that Abdul Smith, Al-Kabir, and the Empire of Morocco government are separate but equal branches of government. Are we going to exhaust everything so this will never happen again? I would strongly advise, as the chief legal officer, as the vice president, judges, stay in your chambers. Interpret the law. I'll bring the enforcement to you. And one that I brought to you, named Stephen, you guys decide on how you're going to deal with him. But do you got enough stomach to deal with him? Because Stephen is belligerent. Stephen texting you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Stephen talking trash like he's got some authoritative figure. Stephen's going up to schools and taking pictures. That's because the former officials don't have no backbone. So I'm asking the de jure Empire of Morocco on a recorded line, what backbone do y'all have to deal with Stephen? You can take yourself off of mute. Oh.
I know one thing, I got a strong backbone, and I would what you call that word again? When you go against your government, treason. Yeah. That's what he deserves, treason.
Okay.
And I don't feel no type of way about it. That's exactly what he deserves. Now you.
Now, ain't nobody feeling sorry for you. Let's read. Here are some real, can y'all still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Here's some real documented international examples of judges or judicial officials who committed crimes along with how they were handled criminally. I'll break this down clearly so you can see patterns across the country. So what Stephen is doing is a pattern, right or wrong?
Right.
This ain't brand new. It's brand new to you, Moors. Because a lot of Moors want to play kumbaya. They want to go back when it's something hard to do. You want to go back to your 5 principles of love, truth, peace. I'm a peaceful person. There ain't no peace. There'll be peace when we decolonize. And then we might sit and be peaceful for a second. But believe me, once you decolonize, there's going to be more people coming after us. It's the chief legal officer and the attorney in the judicial branch is to make sure that it's an organized Jew society out here. And we got some rogue Moors. Just like the United States has rogue citizens. Islam?
Islam.
Everybody want to come in. Say, well, I want to be a state attorney general. But wait till your friend that you bring in starts to breach the Constitution. I'm going to see if you can be impartial. Some of the old consul generals ran from being impartial, couldn't do their job. They are cowards. You know who I'm talking about. If you got a problem with me, I live at 6431 North Ceylon Street, Denver, Colorado 8029. I welcome you to come to this door, Mansur Bey. I welcome you to come to this door, Amir Kane Hill. As the Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco, I welcome you to show up and show me that you can be impartial, but you can't. You removed yourself from the Consul General check. You lied on the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kyrie, and said Kyrie won't be doing any investigation. You deliberately lied on this young man, on this man. Like you had some authority to speak for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kyrie Bey, on the record, in the record, and for the record. Kyrie Bey is the de jure Empire Morocco Minister of Foreign Affairs. Oh, Brother Rashid, because you do such a wonderful job, Reedy. Let's go through Judge 1. We're going to go through different judges internationally that are always doing some seditious and constitutional breaching. And can we start with number 1, please? Where's this judge from? I'm listening. Wazir Rashid, are you there? Well, we can get another reader.
I guess I go out. I go ahead and help out.
Okay. I'm listening.
Number 1, Italy, Judge Silvana Saguto, anti-mafia court corruption. Who? Silvana Saguto, crime, abuse of power, corruption, and mismanagement of seized mafia assets. What happened? Right here. What happened? He controlled billions and confiscated mafia property. Bullet point 2, directed contracts and money to friends and associates. Outcome, convicted in 2023. Sentenced to years in prison. Banned from public office. Key takeaway, even high-profile anti-crime judges can be prosecuted and imprisoned when abusing authority. Number 2, Indonesia, Constitutional Court Judge bribery case. Who? Senior Indonesia judge, Constitutional Court level. Crime, accepting bribes for political/legal decisions. Outcome, convicted in corruption court, sentenced to 8 years in prison. Indonesia is known for aggressively prosecuting judicial corruption through special anti-corruption courts. Wow. 3, United States, Judge Martin T. Manton. Who? Martin T. Manton, crime, took bribes to influence federal court decisions. Outcome: resigned under pressure, convicted and imprisoned. One of the highest ranking judges ever convicted in U.S. history. Wow. Number 4, United States Judge Joseph Waters, Philadelphia, who Judge Joseph C. Waters Jr. crime used judicial positions to fix cases for personal benefit. Outcome: pleaded guilty, convicted of fraud and corruption charges. Shows how lower level judges are also prosecuted through federal systems. Number 5, Ecuador, mass judicial corruption case 2024. What happened? Multiple judges, lawyers, and officials arrested, linked to organized crime networks. Oh, wow. Outcome: mass arrests and detentions, large-scale prosecution of judicial system actors.
Point of
In some
interest.
countries,
What
yes.
was your oh wow for? Prime? I mean, Vice Prime? What
With
was
all
y'all
these
what was you doing? What was y'all doing in the Empire of Morocco with Kendon, Dominique, Mansour Bey, all drug dealers, organized crime network at Dempsey? You just went through this, brother.
yeah,
Wow, what? Why is this such a surprise to y'all, Moors? Because y'all have the 5 points, the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice star? Because you're supposed to be in higher self? Because we have people that come over to the Empire of Morocco to run away from the United States jurisdiction because of the crimes that they've committed within the United States jurisdiction? We had an organized crime network happening in Dempsey.
yeah.
Point of interest, if I may.
Please.
I want you to notice, I want everyone to notice what has happened post the failed coup attempt in relation to AMPAC 2.0 and DIMTY 2.0. He was successful in consolidating power amongst those two factions. How is that? Well, AMPAC 2.0 already has all the positions. The treasury, the capital address, everything goes through AMPAC, as well as the so-called chief judge, the so-called prime minister, the so-called executive director, and um, executive chief of staff, right? Uh, Sarah of the House, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So all the high-level positions that now you have after the post-coup d'état, you have the pretend sultan who is out of where? Dimty. Who else is out of Dimty? The Speaker of the House. So amongst them two, all three branches have been consolidated. You got the Prime Minister, you got the Sultan, you got the Speaker, you got the Chief Judge,
Mhm.
and then as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Executive Chief of Staff, right? And the Sarah of the House. So after this post coup d'état, he consolidated power between DMT 2.0 and AMPAC 2.0, in which they represent all three branches, the Treasury, the capital address, everything goes through those two bodies. And we already know the criminal activity of DMT 2.0. So just wanted to make that point for the record so that the Moors of AMPAC 2.0 start to see what's really going on. Because clearly a veil has been placed over their eyes. I yield.
Thank you for your glorious words. Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, Sultan of the Dejir Empire of Morocco. Outcome: mass arrests and detentions, large-scale prosecution of judicial system actors. In some countries, corruption isn't isolated. It becomes systematic, leading to mass prosecutions. I'm just asking the politicians, the government of the Empire of Morocco, to stand down and let me do my job as the as the Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco. You got a job to do. I don't say nothing about the job that y'all do. And I got a job to do as your chief legal officer. And my job is to enforce the law and show the corruption that is happening within your empire when people try to pull the wool over your eyes. But I'm going to continue to give the Empire of Morocco examples on what they are dealing with. Number
six, Indonesia, 2025. Judges arrested in palm oil case. What happened? Judges accused of clearing companies in exchange for corruption benefits. Outcome: arrested and charged criminally. Even recent 2025 cases show ongoing enforcement. Number 7, Turkey. Prosecutor and judicial officials corruption. Who high-ranking prosecutors, judicial officials, crime, bribery, extortion, organized crime ties. Outcome: investigations and criminal accusations. Some removed or prosecuted. Sometimes enforcement is complicated by political dynamics. Number 8, United States, recent. Former judge, evidence tampering case. Crime: helping conceal a suspect tied to organized crime. Outcome: criminal charges filed. Facing prison time for obstruction and aiding fugitives.
Didn't this just happen to you, Morris?
It sure did.
But you
Not
want
all
somebody
cases.
but you want somebody to feel sorry for you? Ain't nobody feeling sorry for the Moroccans. They said, oh, you want to get back into this government thing? Then you better have a cast iron stomach. Are y'all sure y'all want to get back into government? Are y'all sure y'all want to decolonize? Because we've been managing y'all, and y'all didn't have to really deal with anything while we've been managing y'all. Y'all didn't have to deal with the real gangsters. The real gangsters are the politicians, are the corrupt judges. These are the real gangsters. But they said, okay, Moroccans, you want to get back in? You want to start governing yourselves again? Then what you gonna do about it then? Oh, y'all just gonna let Spencer y'all the politicians, the government of the Empire of Morocco, oh, we supposed to just let Spencer just run and do whatever he wants to run and do. Because that's what that's the whispers when people ask me to be peaceful. Not all cases are bribery. Obstruction and aiding criminals also lead to prosecution. Global patterns. What happens to corrupt judges? Across countries, criminal handlings tend to follow similar steps. Investigation. Oh, here we go. So now your Sultan asks for an investigation, and then what happens? Oh, we run from the investigation. Anti-corruption units, prosecutors, or special courts investigate, often triggered by whistleblowers, financial irregularities, and organized crime links. So what did y'all find out? Y'all found out about the I'm known as what you call a whistleblower. Am I right or wrong? Take yourselves off of mute.
You're right.
Financial irregularities. You found out one of the big reasons why the discernment was happening was because so high tower security went into a debt and owed some back monies. So some people had some issues. Then you found out that you was dealing with organized crime links within the empire. Number two, arrest/removal. So since y'all couldn't, because the Moors didn't have no stomach to deal with Spencer, to deal with Stephen, the Sultan had to step up and show that he had a cast iron stomach. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all because y'all wasn't going to do it. You wasn't. Y'all were going to let him continue to keep writing for all branches, keep consulting for all branches. You didn't have the stomach for it. Let's just call a spade a spade. Moroccans, y'all don't have the stomach for this. So somebody got to be a leader. Somebody got to step up. Arrest, removal. Judges are suspended or removed from office. Arrested if evidence is strong. Criminal charges, common charges, bribery, fraud, abuse of office, obstruction of justice, organized crime involvement. How many of those does Stephen have? Take yourselves off of mute. How many of these does Stephen have?
All of them.
Speak for myself. He didn't have me.
5 for 5.
And number 3 was these charges: bribery, fraud, abuse of office, obstruction of justice, organized crime involvement. All of that is what Stephen has.
Trial and conviction. Try like any other criminal defendant, sometimes in special courts, but he don't want to go to consular court. So he's talking about, I'm going to go to, because some money's owed, I'm going to go to the United States court. 5, sentencing. This is coming. Prison, often 5 to 10 years, fines and asset seizure, lifetime bans from public office. Let me tell you something. I'm 48 years old. I am going to go as long as Allah allows me to go. When the Sultan and the Prime and the future Sultans and Primes, and if I'm still able to continue breathing, guess what I'm going to do, Morris? When somebody takes over the office for me, on my dying bed, and if Stephen is still living, I want him to hear this. On my dying bed, Stephen, and you are still living, I'm going to whisper whoever is taking over as Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco, and this is what I'm going to whisper in their ear. Don't you ever forget what Stephen did. If it's your number one thing you do, you make sure that he never harms the Moors in the Empire of Morocco again. I don't care if he's 80. That's what I'm going to whisper. Those are going to be my last breaths. To the Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco. As I tell my children by, I'm going to whisper that in his ear. So when you say a finish line, I'm going to finish. And my son and my nephews, they know about this, and they're coming. So when I'm gone, they're going to carry on they're going to carry on the mission. Let's continue with the truth. Now, sometimes what you do, you get caught. This is the fraudulent proceedings. See, I'm going to keep everything. The fraudulent proceedings. Hold on, that's not it there. This is the fraudulent proceedings here. This will forever be in the archives of the fraudulent proceedings. These proceedings here were fraudulent because no one has still answered to October 1st affidavit of constitutional breach and proceeding. I want all the Moors know that all these people that's named in this fraudulent High Court of the House document, not written by the High Court, but written by Stephen, I am going to get you all. Hopefully y'all heard what I just said. I'm hoping that they hear what I'm saying. From a legal perspective, I am going to get you all. You lied on the record in this fraudulent court proceeding. Because October 12th for 2025, none of those people that was named in the affidavit of October 1st of 2025 has answered to that affidavit and has answered to having an investigation and coming in front of the de jure High Court of the House. So this particular document produced by Stephen is fraud because he bypassed an investigation. See, y'all have to learn law as I'm still continuing learning. Still continuing to study. Oh, I got it. Because I want Queen, whose husband texts me, whose husband ain't got no backbone, because I told him to come see me. What is this document? This is a pseudo document. But what is this document? Dated October 5th. Come on, Moors. Let's get active from a legal standpoint.
That's J-Bay's recusal
Why
letter.
is the vice prime always got... Where are the state attorney generals?
Good question.
Where are the state attorney generals? Take yourself off of mute. Let's get some work done. These sessions are for you. We talking legal. So we're going to sit right here until a state attorney general or consul general come off mute. Don't nobody say nothing.
Islam. I'm at work, but I got you though.
Thank you.
Recruits will
By the way,
that's just
this is
recruits will
Daryl
let.
Gate, the head consul general of the Empire of Morocco. Continue on, good brother. Islam. What document is this?
That's the Empire of Morocco, the Supreme. That's the Supreme Court. The Judge Isaac Bey. Some
This is a
I
fraudulent
read it all.
document, though.
Right, right, because they've been put out of office anyway. So none of this stuff is standing.
And did they
And they didn't. They
did
didn't.
they answer to the October 1st, 2000? Did they answer to the Did they answer to the October 1st affidavit submitted to the Empire of Morocco by the Sultan, Dangerous Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir?
Never did at all. They act like it didn't exist, and that's the
Okay,
crazy part about the
so
situation.
we've already have went towards October 1st, and already there's some fraudulent court proceeding happened and produced and orchestrated by Spencer, by Stephen. This is a notice of recusal from the chair of the High Court. The person's name is to the left. Recusing himself from this fraudulent case, which then, look what he does to Isaac. Isaac, I'm speaking to you right now, brother. Why would you allow this man to do this to you? He recused himself, Isaac, put you in the front of the fight. You and me both know you don't care about no monies. He puts you in the front of the fight and then gets on video 174 and talks about this same case after he recused himself. Oh, no, nobody. Oh, well.
Correction. That was 175. That was
175.
175.
I stand corrected. 175. Down at the bottom, who that's the name. That's the name down at the bottom. I ain't got to say the name. You ain't got to say the name. The Moors need to what? Read it, because y'all can read. You're overly competent. That's why they say you summons the court. Moors. You, Moors, the Isle of Man, Moroccans, we summons the court. Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is it right here. This is the notice of recusing himself from this fraudulent case and so-called putting his so-called brother in the front. He knew what he was doing to Isaac. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to Isaac? Go ahead. Chief Judge speaking of the Empire of Morocco, Cicero Bay. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. It appears as I read it, he recused himself from the High Court and made the Supreme Court the head over the High Court, as the way I just read it. And I know that he was the judge of the Supreme Court prior to, but was also recently gave oath to be of the High Court at the time. I'm just trying to think. All he did basically, in his eyes, was just step down from one office while also maintaining the previous one that he had before, which he believes still gives him the title of a chief judge over there, but does not, but also is not the supreme chief judge of that court. If you understand what I'm trying to address here. I yield.
Yes, I overstand it. But even though he's trying to jump from one jurisdiction to the next, he's trying to give power to Isaac Bey in one jurisdiction while he's still standing in another jurisdiction, does not recuse the fact that he still spoke about this case, about this so-called pseudo case on video 175 when he recused himself. Let's just stay there. Then let's also stay at did he answer to the October 1st affidavit? No. His response was, I'm going to create a fraudulent court proceedings to impeach the Sultan. This is what this is. Now, I know Isaac know better. And I know for my heart of hearts that Lauren Watson Ali know better. But therefore, third paragraph, therefore, let it be known by my own will and desire that I hereby recuse myself from presiding over the case of Al-Kabir. Okay. So what did he talk about Judge Cicero on 175?
Al-Kabir.
Who did he put in front?
Isaac.
And after that, who did Isaac put in front?
Was it Dominique, I want to say? I'm
And
not
they know,
sure.
was it Dominique? You know it. Say it with your chest out. Because Dominique can't keep her mouth shut. She loved to be on social media with her black fez and her guard and her black guard talking about, I can't wait to get down to business. Huh?
But yet they're in colonial courts.
Okay. It's a step-by-step state attorney generals. This is a step-by-step. Now let's go somewhere. Let's go to your Constitution. Let's go down. We got a lot of studio gangsters. A lot of people keep talking about their authorities and what they're doing and what they're running. Makes my stomach hurt. Oh, okay. Let's talk about the truth again. Is this whose signatures are these? Is this the signature page from the Constitution, y'all?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so who signed off on Abdul Smith Al-Kabir? Let's read the names being assaulted. And I'm as was at the time your acting head counsel general of the empire. I voted for Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. Did anybody on this call vote for the de jure Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir?
Islam, yes, I did.
Okay, take all the. If anybody voted for Abdul Smith Al-Kabir or recognizes that Abdul Smith Al-Kabir as the de jure sultan of the Empire of Morocco, please take yourself off of mute and say aye.
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 Okay. Did anybody get any notice of a special election for Kendon Bey that he was elected to Sultan of the Empire of Morocco? Please take yourself off of mute and say nay if you did not get notice of that special election. Nay.
Nay.
Okay, so the rest of y'all got notices of the special election?
Hey, G, a lot of us was PGL, so we couldn't
Never
vote.
received an email.
That ain't what I asked. No, I'm talking about, did you get notice of a special
Hey.
election for Kendon?
We didn't get
No, we did not.
Okay,
No.
stay with me, Moors. Who on this call got notice of a special election to elect Kendon Bey as the second Sultan of the Empire of Morocco? I'm asking you to take yourself off of mute and say nay if you did not receive that notice.
Nay.
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 Aye.
We talking legal now.
Nay here too. Like that's first.
But for the record, you all recognize Abdul Smith Al-Kabir as the Sultan. Yay?
Yay.
it. That's a fact.
Yay.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Now,
Yay.
we're going to take all 17 to 20 people on this call. And then now, we're going to combine it with all these signatures here. First signature, DeAndre Dre Bay, Brittany Bay, Amir Hassan Hill, Mary Fasson Hill, Abdul Smith Bay. Oh, and by the way, Salty, can you please tell us what your name was in Panama? I'm building up.
Abdul Smith, same name.
Oh, I'm building up. Woo-wee. Come on now. We're going to have some fun today, Moors. I know y'all been a little bit stressed out. We're going to have some fun. I'm building up. Because we got a video of a brother that got deported that changed his name. What was your name over in Panama, Sultan?
Abdul Smith.
What did you sign the Constitution as, Sultan?
Abdul Smith Bay.
Oh, did you change your whole name like the brother did from Miami?
No, I added the Moorish appellation of Bay.
Which is your self-determination. But you most definitely didn't go away from the Smith. Let me ask you another question, Sultan, for the record, because take in mind, the Sultan ain't in front of no court. I just want to ask him some clear questions. Because I'm pretty sure did your wife commit the same? Did your wife commit fraud and try to change her name also to try to come over here to the United States and do political affairs like the brother did from Miami?
Same exact concept.
See, but this is what Spencer's sending
The
us.
same thing all the Moors have done, which was some Moors may have kept their birth name and just added the Bay, El, Ali, Al, or Day. Others changed their name entirely to reflect ancient principles. Smith is real quick, brother. Smith is a misconcept to say that it's a European name or a white man's name, because who were the swordsmiths and the locksmiths? These are ancient Moorish trades. Therefore, it's a Moorish name. That's primarily why I kept it, as well as to represent my father's legacy as a famous and astute and very successful politician. So it's to carry on that legacy of my family being in politics, and me now being a part of politics as the head of state. It appeared as though related pretty well. So that's why I kept it. But I yield with that.
Thank you, Salton. Let's go here. Queen Bay, Akil, Markisha, Hill, Ill, Kenan. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whose name is on here?
The so-called second sultan.
Did he vote for Abdul Smith Bay? That's the Sultan? Because he
Let me
signed up
answer
on the
that.
Constitution.
Well,
Yes, he did.
remember,
His signature right there.
I know he was. I know. He
voted for himself.
Correct. I know, but guess what? He signed this Constitution, which is validating your office with his signed pen, which means that he took an oath for the Empire of Morocco, not Stephen. And who's the head of state for the Empire of Morocco? Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, not Stephen. Makar, Martino. Oh, they go New Andalusia right there. I'll leave that up to y'all. Yahya and Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. So, now, Moors, as we catch Stephen in another lie, Abdul signed the Constitution, our Sultan signed the Constitution to Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, correct? Do y'all remember in the fraudulent court proceedings on how he say he just took on this name? He had been calling himself Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. June 3rd, 2024. They didn't have a problem with it June 3rd, 2024, did they, Moors?
Nope.
Okay. So all of a sudden, fast forward here from these fraudulent court proceedings, June 3rd, 2024. These fraudulent court proceedings come out starting in October. Now you got a problem with Abdul Smith Al-Kabir calling himself Al-Kabir. Did we not just catch him again? Islam. Can I get an Islam on the floor?
Islam.
See,
Islam.
this is why a righteous pen shall continue and a deceitful pen will fall. Let's go back up because we have to remind the Moors because the Moors forget.
As a reminder, even if I chose the name because I think I'm Allah, that's still not a legal argument.
Correct.
It has absolutely nothing to do with abuse of powers to constitute some high crime.
Correct.
This is where you got to recognize the fork tonguing and the spell casting as a magi. I yield. Dark magi, that is. I yield.
Okay. Now let's move forward. The Sultan has stated on the record that two of the Moroccan nationals, former officials, because we've all go through a rough patch in life, lend some monies. They decide, hey, we want to go to the United States colonial courts like Spencer, like Spencer did. Let me tell you why they have. Let's go to the legal aspect why they have no standing. Because they're saying that consular court has no standing. It's void ab initio. So when you go use a colonial court over consular court, you're saying that consular court is void ab initio because you want to use the colonial court for your own special privileges. Can somebody
Real, clarity, real quick, AG. It's the Supreme Court. Consular Court is for foreign affairs. Supreme Court is for disputes among nationals. I yield.
Okay. And thank you for that correction. So let's talk about this. That's what they're trying to do. That the Supreme Court has no standing. Because there's a dispute between the nationals, which is supposed to be with the Supreme Court. But they won't even answer to consular court either. Okay, can somebody please, from a legal perspective, the same Constitution we all signed, either the Constitution we signed or the Sultan that we voted for. Can somebody please read chapter 10, High Court of the House, please? Somebody please do me the honors.
G. Chapter 10, the High Courts of the House. Article 80, number 1, Section 1. His Majesty, the Sultan of Morocco, shall incur no liability because of acts carried out in his official or personal capacity, subject to the provisions of Article 63 and 81 hereof.
Read again.
Article 80, Section 1. His Majesty, the Sultan of Morocco, shall incur no liability because of acts carried out in his official or personal capacity, subject to the provisions of Article 63 and 81 hereof.
What does that mean to you, Moors?
He was well within his right to answer that fraudulent October 5th in regards to vetoing those policies.
Okay, so let's move down forward to his personal capacity. What can they not do? If something is handed to me from a personal capacity and I'm told, hey man, give me back when you can. I know what you're doing for the empire. We need you. That's a personal capacity, right or wrong?
Right.
Right.
You got to stay with me, Moors. State attorney generals. I'm talking to y'all. This is why he keeps trying to pull the wool over your eyes, because he's saying that y'all are not going to read and be able to interpret the Constitution. Throughout his term of office, the Sultan shall not be required to testify before any court of law. Any court of law. Any court of law. Or administrative authority, and shall not be the object of any civil proceedings, nor any performing of charges, prosecution, or investigatory measures. All limitation periods shall be suspended for the duration of said term of office. So please take him to the colonial courts in 2031. But guess what? He's still going to have protections as being if he's out of office and somebody else takes over office in 2031. See, these people don't give a damn about their own constitution. I will say this for the record. I appreciate y'all correspondence regarding the Sultan as his chief legal officer. I appreciate Isaac and Monica. I appreciate the respect also. They're respectful emails. It's not belligerent. You're not text messaging in the middle of the night. You're not harassing. But unfortunately, you have breached the Constitution. Because you keep listening to Stephen. Let's read it one more time. Article 80, I'm sorry, Chapter 10, High Court of the House. Article 80, His Majesty the Sultan of Morocco shall incur no liability because of acts carried out in his official or personal capacity, subject to the provisions of Article 63 and 61 hereof. Number 2, throughout his term of office, the Sultan shall not be required to testify before any court of law or administrative authority and shall not be the object of any civil proceedings nor any preferring of charges, prosecution, or investigatory measures. All limitation periods shall be suspended for the duration of said term. So, as I know, Isaac, and as I know, Monica, they are very smart people, but they're very loyal people. And you know, in your heart of all hearts, stay with me. You know, in your heart of all hearts, Kyrie, please read consolidated record of disqualification and findings, please.
All right, 2, consolidated records of disqualification and findings. Dominique Lachey.
You cut out, brother.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'll start over. 2, consolidated record of disqualification and findings. Dominique Lachey McClue, felony drug-related offenses and theft activity. Chad Rideau, repeated felony drug offenses and DUI violations. Kendon Rashad Vaughn, drug trafficking, child endangerment, homicide-related charges, active warrant.
Read again.
Kendon Rashad Vaughn, drug trafficking, child endangerment, homicide-related charges, active warrant.
Read again.
Kendon Rashad Vaughn, drug trafficking, child endangerment, homicide-related charges, and active warrant.
In San Bernardino, California. Read it again.
Kendon Rashad Vaughn, drug trafficking, child endangerment, homicide-related charges, and active warrant.
Thank you, brother. So you're going to try to tell me, Isaac and Monica, that you allowed to be swayed with a special election for that individual, Kendon Rashad Vaughn, to represent you? Over the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco, Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, and Kendon, which is subordinate to him, signed off on it in the Constitution. I'm talking to you, Isaac. I'm talking to you, Monica. I'm talking to you because your emails were peaceful. But your legal argument is wrong. Your legal argument is wrong. Per the person you voted for.
Point of interest. I'd like to ask a question.
Please.
Is AMPAC 2.0, are they going by the same constitution right now, or do they have a different one?
I'm pretty sure that constitution is changed, but who gave them the approval to change that constitution, brother?
Nobody. My point is that I'm pretty sure they got these Article 80 all the way to 4. I'm pretty sure they got that in their con
It does not matter, Buck.
trying to say.
No one gave them authority to do that, Buck.
Right. No, what I'm saying is, okay, let's say they got that in their constitution, right? Now they're giving the fake sultan the same thing that the de jure sultan have, but they recognizing it for the fake sultan, but then they not recognizing it for the de jure sultan. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Point of interest, AG, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, bro.
Let me clarify what Brother Buck is saying. You're looking at it wrong. What they're doing is because they are a left faction, right? They have went in a separate direction, conducting themselves as if they are the de jure empire. Whereas me as the Sultan have been removed according to their fraudulent jurisdiction. Because of that is why they feel empowered to bring a case against me. Because according to their fraudulent jurisdiction, I'm no longer Sultan. But as we know, it's a fraudulent jurisdiction and it's not withstanding. Now, let me clarify something, add something to this conversation that's very important. Clearly, we're talking about money's owed. Money's owed to Monica, money's owed to Isaac. 7,000 in total. 5 to Isaac, 5, 7, 2 to Monica, right? And those will get paid. It's acknowledged, not being denied. However, we're going to stick to the original agreement, period. And regardless on any threats. What needs to be understood, though, is that Hakeem Bey, who is a national of AMPAG, he's a Moroccan national, disassociated himself from the WRC. He was a contractor working with the WRC, assisting with technical technology. I don't know. I don't know what you call that. He was a computer guy, if you will. He designed a lot of the seals. We allowed him to design most of the seals for the PGFs, put together websites. He designed the seal for the WRC. The current WRC seal that you see that's orange, rustic kind of, that's Hakeem Bey. So because of his work with the WRC, he was charging. He was charging us. And money was owed. However, there was an agreement in which he would be compensated upon decolonization. Fast forward to when I was elected as Sultan, he, I don't know if it's fair to say, but from our perspective, he got brand new. I haven't spoken to the good brother. He was, if you go back and listen to the AMPAC media classes, he was basically my right-hand man. He was heavily involved with the AMPAC media classes, participating within that presentation. So we had a very good working relationship. I liked Hakeem, but I hadn't spoken to him since this happened. At any rate, he when I became Sultan, he brought a suit against me, alleging money's owed. Same concept, based on what was owed to him from the WRC, the Wazir Regional Council. Well, as you call him Stephen, I call him Toby. It's all the same. He wrote a document invoking Article 80, Section 1 and 2 to get rid of Hakeem. Say that to say, if it's good for Hakeem Bey, then it's good for Monica and Isaac. because without a doubt and no contradiction, I am the de jure sultan still, whereas AMPAC 2.0 and their jurisdiction is absolutely fraudulent, illegitimate, and notwithstanding. I yield.
Islam.
Islam. He's talking legal. He's talking legal. Constitution. De jure. We talked about this being the first administration. The first administration has to go through the things that they have to go through. Judge Akil said it. We're just going through this because we're the first administration. We got to set the tone now, so when the next administration is, they got a blueprint to fall upon. Islam?
Islam.
Enjoy the process, Moors. Whether it's a constitutional breach, a sedition, enjoy the process, because this allows us to put the righteous pen down so the next administration can have something to fall upon and to build off of. Islam?
AG, I want to also, now that I gave that story, because it's, fairness and transparency is absolutely necessary in government, good government at least. Hakeem Bey, if he ever hears this recording, I haven't spoken to him. He is absolutely owed monies from the WRC, and the WRC will make right on that debt, regardless on whatever verbal agreement or written agreement. I'm not sure how the agreement was set up. It was supposed to be paid upon decolonization. But if there's no written agreement, then uh, that notion is notwithstanding. So the WRC and the Empire does owe Hakeem Bey, and we shall uh, adhere to that debt. I yield.
Thank you, Saul, for being transparent. We're going to move forward. As state attorney generals, this is a state attorney general's class. And we're going to talk about the standard operating procedures that I've presented to the branch heads. Why is this important? First, you must understand your duty. Secondly, you are appointed. You are in a performance-based role, state attorney generals. You got to perform. And every so often, your performance might not be a good performance. Suck it up and move on and get better. I tell the children that I coach all the time. We went 20-0. We didn't learn nothing. We walking around, chest out. But the game we lost, the 21st game we lost, that gave me something to build off of. And we played a good game. We didn't play a terrible game. The other team had just as many turnovers, but they just had one more better athlete than what we did. We lose the game by 10 points. This guy averaged 8 points, but he had 20 points in that game. We lose. because we let that athlete get 10 above his average or 12 above his average. We lose the game. We wasn't as sharp. We wasn't as detail oriented. But we learned more from that loss than the other 20 games we won. So you got to look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna learn when I make mistakes, I'm gonna learn more from this. Because not all the time you're gonna get a pat on the back. Standard operating procedures, SOP, code of conduct, international legal compliance, and two-strike enforcement policy. For internal state attorney generals of the Empire of Morocco. The purpose, this standard operating procedure establishes binding standards for conduct, legal compliance, disciplinary enforcement for all state attorney generals regarding operating under the authority of the Empire of Morocco. This policy is grounded in the sovereign legal framework of the empire, established principles of international law and diplomatic conduct, the preservation of justice, order, and institutional integrity. See, this is what the previous consul generals, state attorney generals couldn't do. They had no institutional integrity. They had an allegiance to one individual. You can't do that as a state attorney general. You have to be impartial. Even if you didn't want to go through the investigation, you should have went through the investigation. Now that particular person has you by the know what, you know what. Because he knows you don't have the guts, the testicle fortitude to investigate him ever. You're weak. You're weak, Mansur. You're weak, Amir. And y'all know I know you are. You know I know. Two, legal authority and international framework. Oh, let me camelback. Amir, don't send me nothing that you can't read or write yourself. This is the de jure Kanye Show Bay, Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco, opponent by Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. So if Steven get to writing something for you, you know you ain't man enough to do it yourself. Don't send me nothing that you didn't write yourself or put the thought process in or can put it in a Google Doc and put it in a file. You know, Amir, me and you are from Detroit. Don't be no studio gangster. Don't allow the Indiana Steven and Atlanta Steven to do your work for you. Do it yourself. Number two, legal authority and international framework. This standard operating procedure shall be interpreted in harmony with the following legal authorities. A, national authority. Constitutional authority of the Empire of Morocco. Authority of the High Council of the Judiciary. Direct oversight of the office of the Attorney General. B, international legal frameworks. All attorney generals should operate in alignment with internationally recognized standards, including the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations 1963. Ensures proper diplomatic conduct, communication, and jurisdictional respect. United Nations Charter, upholding human rights, self-determination, and lawful governance. UN General Assembly Resolution 1514, Article 15, reinforces principles of sovereignty and decolonization. United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1541, Article 15, defines legitimate government structures and self-determination standards. Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1786 and 1836 establishes long-standing diplomatic and legal relations. Act of Algeciras 1906 recognizes international obligations and governance framework tied to Morocco. Every treaty, declaration, or charter I just named, Spencer did not write any of those. He wasn't even born. Y'all suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. You are supporting your oppressor. Scope 3. This SOP applies to all state attorney generals within the empire, deputy and special attorney generals, legal officers acting under consular or state authority. 4, core behavior and ethical standards. We're talking about A, sovereign conduct. All officials should uphold the sovereignty of the Empire of Morocco, avoid actions that undermine national or international legitimacy, respect diplomatic protocols and jurisdictional boundaries. Upholds the sovereignty of the Empire of Morocco. Uphold the sovereignty of the Empire of Morocco. B, professional integrity. Maintain truthfulness in all legal matters. Avoid misrepresentation of authority, jurisdiction, and legal standing. So why didn't you tell me, Mansur Bey, that they had you come into our council general meetings to check up on me? Knowing that you never told me about your background. You wasn't truthful with me. You probably wasn't truthful with them over there. And if you were truthful with them, why didn't they come with me? See, there's a lot of untruthfulness going on over there at AMPAC 2.0. They used you as a puppet, brother. And now you got to deal with me for the rest of your life. And I'm overly prepared if you decide to come to Colorado. Overly prepared. I think y'all know what that means. C, international compliance. Attorney generals must respect consular notification requirements under the Vienna Convention. Avoid unlawful use of foreign or colonial legal venues inconsistent with declared jurisdiction. Maintain alignment with international human rights standards. Duty to the High Council of the Judiciary. Operate under the supervision and authority of the High Council. Submit to oversight, review, and disciplinary authority. Maintain confidentiality and professionalism in all proceedings. So when your boss, who is your boss, state attorney generals? Who is your boss? Who oversees you?
The prime sees the state attorney generals, and then the sultan oversees the prime.
Right. There you go. We're talking macro. Yes, you are in the chambers of the empire's attorney general, but I even have a boss. And bosses. So whatever my bosses ask me to do, I must do it. The micro is my chambers overseeing you. The macro is the empire in the prime minister who oversees the government. Islam?
Islam.
Prohibited. Let's talk about prohibited conduct. See, the Moors, we got a problem with people who look like us. This is on how the coup d'etat keeps happening. Stephen don't want to take he don't want nobody saying nothing to him. Imagine this. Can y'all imagine you being somebody's boss from a legal standpoint and constitutional standpoint, but he bosses you around? That's like your child when you tell your child, you come in the house from work and your child tell you to sit down and shut up. And your child running you, telling you when to what you can eat, what you can't eat, where you can go and where you can't go. Because didn't Stephen say that the Empire of Morocco had a mother and a father?
Yeah, he did say that.
See, Buck is the only brave one. Why is it Buck that gangster in him? You know why some of y'all quiet? Some of y'all love to be quiet because you want to be, oh, I don't want my name to be on the record. Ain't nothing gonna fall apart over here. I'm gonna ask the question again. Didn't Stephen tell y'all that the Empire of Morocco had a mother and a father?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Political mother and political father.
Okay, a political mother and a political father. A political mother and a political father. Stephen fell up under the judicial branch, which had nothing to do with political. So tell me why the hell was y'all letting y'all child dictate what y'all do? Did y'all hear what I just said?
Yeah.
And the famous words, when shit started to get hot in the kitchen, I'm just gonna go back in my chambers and keep my mouth shut. Oh no. You and burnt down the kitchen. And we did not have insurance. We did not have rental insurance. So we got to rebuild the whole kitchen. Islam?
Wow.
Wow, let's do it.
So what's the prohibited conduct? If the prime minister asks you to stand down, you stand down. He ain't talking to you as a person or as a man. He talking to your office. The Sultan that course correct me a few times. No, hold up 1 second, AG. Right? Right? Hold up 1 second, AG. He's not attacking me as a man. He's just giving me some course correction. Hey, I want you to look at it in this aspect, AG, instead of looking at it in that aspect. I sit back for a minute and I say, yeah, I see your point. Because I tend to look at things from a legal perspective, because I ain't no politician. I'm like, get the Sharif, put it on the dough, and when he walk out the door, let's get him to the ground and put him in handcuffs and let's just take him. The Sultan's like, um, we got to give him his due process a little bit too. AG, go back to October 1st. I'm like, let's just go pick him up. AG, go back to October 1st. Okay, not a problem. Let's go back to October 1st. Why? Because they still ain't answered October 1st. So we're gonna continue to bring it up. We can't have no olive dove. We can't have no little white olive dove birds coming around until you answer to the October 1st affidavit.
AG, what's today's date?
April 19th.
No, October 1st. Every day is October
Okay,
1st,
see?
2025.
I love it.
Groundhog Day, baby. Let's go.
I love it. See? So anytime he's trying to present something and tries to talk little trash here, text here, let's just talk about nobody needs to respond anymore. Any response to him, just text him back October 1st. That's it. Anything you got to say, we just going to text you back October 1st. You want peace? October 1st. Five, prohibited conduct. The following are violations under both domestic and international standards. Acting outside declares jurisdiction in contradiction to international agreements. Misuse of legal authority in a manner that violates international law principles. Public or private conduct that brings disrepute to the empire, undermines diplomatic relations. Harassment, coercion, or defamation. Filing or persuading actions inconsistent with declared legal positions. Then we have a 2-strike minimum enforcement policy. Strike 1, formal notice of violation. Issuance of official notice of violation. Entry into the official record of the High Council of the Judiciary. Mandatory correction measures. Ethics and compliance review. International law reduction. Re-education. Written acknowledgement of the violation. Strike 2, final disciplinary action. Immediate escalation to the High Council of the Judiciary. Actions may include suspension of authority, revocation of Attorney General status, removal from office, referral to consular court or appropriate tribunal. So please course correct yourselves. Stop thinking everything is personal attack. 7, zero tolerance violations, immediate action. The following violations result in immediate escalation without a 2-strike requirement. Violations of international treaties or diplomatic obligations, fraud, financial misconduct or corruption, actions that compromise sovereignty or national integrity, abuse of authority causing harm to nationals or state interests. 8, investigation and review process. All matters shall be reviewed by the High Council of the Judiciary. Proceedings shall be documented and recorded. Follow principles of due process of fairness and allow response from accused. Where applicable, matters may involve consular court review, international legal consultation. 9, record keeping and transparency. All disciplinary actions shall be maintained in official archives, accessible to authorized governing bodies, used for precedents and enforcement consistency. Affirmation of office. All state attorney generals affirm loyalty to the Empire of Morocco, compliance with international law and treaty obligations, commitment to justice, order, and sovereign integrity. Did this say loyalty to one person? Who are you loyal to? State attorney generals, consul generals, minister of foreign affairs, wazirs? Who should you be loyal to? Executive directors?
Empire of Morocco, without a doubt.
Are you sure?
Yes,
For our
indeed.
Constitution and our
Because
office, without a
I
doubt.
will guarantee you it's people that's at Impact 2.0. Let me speak to Impact 2.0. If Steven decides to leave, y'all, will you still be in the empire? And if your answer is no, then you ain't no real Moroccan. You are not for decolonization. I said this on a recorded line. When I was asked, why would you go talk to anybody about what's going on? So I'm going to create some policies and procedures of chain and command. It's your disrespectful nature for another person's office because you want to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. This ain't the NFL. This is not the National Football League. Their incompetence is what got them what they got. No, we're going to stand up for ourselves here from a legal perspective. And sedition is putting together policies to shut everybody up because you don't want the truth to be told. Now, them unfortunate brothers and sisters over there at Impact 2.0 and dug a hole so deep that they're afraid to speak up for themselves. Effective authority. This standard operating procedure is issued under the authority of the Office of the Attorney General, Empire of Morocco, High Council of the Judiciary, effective immediately upon insurance. Now we have an updated enforcement section. Zero tolerance enforcement policy, no tolerance standard. Zero tolerance enforcement policy. The Office of the Attorney General of the Empire of Morocco, under the authority of the High Council of the Judiciary, hereby adopts a zero tolerance enforcement standard for all state attorney generals. Under this policy, any verified violation of conduct, ethical duty, or legal obligation shall result in immediate disciplinary action without the requirement of prior warning or multiple offenses. Immediate disciplinary action. First violation standard. Enforcement based upon past disruptive behavior toward other government officials. Upon the first confirmed violation, the following actions may be imposed immediately. Formal charge and notice of violation. Immediate suspension of authority, revocation of attorney general status, removal from office, referral to the High Council of the Judiciary or Consular Court for further proceedings. Grounds for zero tolerance enforcement. The following conduct shall automatically trigger enforcement. A, violation of the sovereign authority, again, acting outside declared jurisdiction in contradiction in sovereign legal positions, undermining the authority of the Empire of Morocco. These are all things that the past consul generals failed at. Their allegiance was to one person, not the empire. B, violations of international law. Right? Breach of obligations under the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations 1963. United Nations Charter, failure to uphold international recognized diplomatic standards. Abuse of office, misrepresentation of legal authority, authorized legal filings or enforcement actions acting for personal gain or in bad faith. This is where you get caught up, state attorney generals, acting for personal gain. What's the personal gain? Well, certain counsel generals went over there with AMPAC 2.0 because somebody told them they got them out of jail. Sorry, sir, you did time served. The personal gain was Kendon talking to Manser saying, no, bro, we got to stay over here. Jay got me this ankle monitor. I was looking at 10, 12 years. I only got to do an ankle monitor. Oh, I'm sorry. The second sultan of the Empire of Morocco, let him walk around with an ankle monitor on his damn ankle. Representing the Empire of Morocco. This is ridiculous. You think that I'm going to want you to represent me and my family, and you got ankle monitors? You got all these malicious things happening that you did not let us know about? This is what you're doing, Isaac. This is what you're doing, Monica. This is what you're doing, Lauren Watson Ali. You know, Amir, that at least Amir maybe spoke upon his past. Abuse of office, misrepresentation of legal authority, unauthorized legal findings or enforcement action, acting for personal gain or in bad faith. This is bad faith. Well, what's happening with AMPAC 2.0? Misconduct and dispute, harassment, coercion, defamation, public conduct damaging to the integrity of the office, repeated or intentional disruption of governmental operations. I ain't came up to nobody's job. I'm not assuming anything about anybody. My wife said, stand down. Don't you do it. Oh, I got the huge chess piece. I've talked to the Sultan about it and other individuals. I said, I got this chess piece. They said, we'll handle it. Handle it illegally. But I want you to know over there, I got the chess pieces of all chess pieces waiting. Because eventually I'm going to have to use it. This is not a threat. This is the truth. You're not going to lay up and get on AMPAC study sessions and talk about acting and being a good person when you can't do that for the same people that take care of you every day. Repeated or intentional disruption of governmental operations. E, fraud and financial misconduct, unauthorized handling of funds, misappropriation of deceptive financial practices, any conduct constituting corruption. Okay. It's no ain't nobody that's mishandled funds. You got what you got, and we don't have what we don't have. But most definitely, I didn't get up and go take something that was put in by a group of people trying to decolonize and just assume it was mine or that I could do that. Okay. Investigation and Summary Action Authority. The High Council of the Judiciary retains full authority to initiate immediate investigation, issue summary disciplinary rulings, enforce removal without delay where evidence is clear. Due process shall be preserved through notice of violation, opportunity to respond, post-action review where necessary. No tolerance principle. This policy affirms the integrity of the office of the Attorney General is paramount and shall not be comprised by progressive discipline where immediate action is warranted. There shall be no expectation of warnings, second chances, or graduated discipline in matters involving sovereignty, legal integrity, public trust, and international obligations. Office of the Attorney General, Empire of Morocco, Kanye Show Bay. Islam.
Imam.
Do not,
Islam.
they do not want the next ground of the state attorney generals to not be impartial. We are going through our first administration struggles, but the next group of state attorney generals are going to understand it's not going to be a homie club. I got some formatting to do, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of the exclusive venue document draft. We're not going to go through it.
Point of interest.
Yes.
AG, can we pause on that?
Yes.
I'll tell you something about that. Let's pause on that for
Okay.
now. Please, thank you.
Okay, not a problem. So we're here, Morse.
But what I mean, I'm sorry, AG. One point of interest, if you don't mind, but
Yeah,
you were
please.
going to say something. I just want to get the point of interest after you're done. Go
No,
ahead,
no,
bro.
no. You go ahead.
Right. Gratitude. It's absolutely of the utmost importance to point out a critical mistake that um Stephen Toby, whatever Negro slave name you want to apply to this gentleman, to utilize the foreign tribunal to bring a case against a Moroccan national based on a Moroccan dispute that is to be overseen by Moroccan law, to take it to the U.S. tribunal to be overseen by American law, is treason, and it kills the credibility of 185 so-called study sessions in which it is being promoted that the United States has no jurisdiction over Moroccan affairs. Well, that's not his opinion. Those are facts and truths. Furthermore, he likes to invoke and then emphasize and re-emphasize and over re-emphasize Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid, in which it states to choose the entire submission, which means there is no going back. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country must choose the entire submission to the laws of the empire, period. That is a mandate, as confirmed by Othman Philip in the 1906 expatriation document, speaking with Elihu, what was his name? The Secretary of State, Elihu, I forgot his name, but it's Elihu. I forgot his last name. Point being, however, is that it's a mandate. So he violated treaty law, and they are getting ready to violate it some more. He has violated the Constitution. He's also violated American law, so he's a criminal in both jurisdictions. But the most egregious crime is to go to the U.S. jurisdiction and give them jurisdiction over Moroccan affairs. This is the reason for the term Toby and Stevens, because he's running to his slave master for assistance with a Moroccan dispute, which then takes away from the credibility of our organized jewel society, because it says we cannot govern ourselves. So for the record, the agreement that was on the record within Moroccan jurisdiction of AMPAC 2.0, the Empire of Morocco would have been obligated and to absolutely enforce that agreement. This is what an organized jewel society is about. This is what, first of all, unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience is about. This is what competency is about. The investigation showed the slithering to slither past. The investigation shows incompetence. Competence is conducting the investigation as the so-called competent authority. Just as well, to enforce the agreement set forth in Moroccan jurisdiction, it is of the utmost importance to exercise the competence to enforce the agreement. And we all come together to work through the competent aspect of governance. But see, because of the coup, the failed coup, he had been removed. And so his faith was shaken. He doesn't have faith in Moroccan law right now because he doesn't have full control over Moroccan law. And because of that, he thought proper to do something that lends itself to a political suicide, which is to involve the U.S. tribunals and give them jurisdiction over Moroccan affairs that was already under Moroccan agreement. I heard AMPAC 2.0. I hope AMPAC 2.0 heard that. I absolutely hope AMPAC 2.0 heard that. Your leader is a traitor. He showed his treasonous disposition when he slithered past the investigation. He showed his treasonous disposition when he moved forward with a lightning fast fake impeachment. And he showed his treasonous disposition when he sought the U.S. tribunals to enforce Moroccan law. This is egregious. He has something to explain to you all, and it's incumbent upon you all to hold him accountable. In order to do so, you must have testicular fortitude, men. The men of AMPAC 2.0, you got to have a spine made out of bones, not jelly. Your spine is jelly, man. AMPAC 2.0 men, hold J. Jermaine Bay accountable for his criminality against the empire and His Majesty the Sultan. I yield.
Islam. Sultan, do you see what's on my screen?
I do.
Do you mind if I read this?
You may, but it hasn't been submitted.
Yes.
It's not being enforced yet, for the record, but it is being considered and it has been drafted, but it hasn't been enforced or put into motion. So, but you may read it. Go ahead.
And that's why I wanted to get permission. You see how that go, Morris? I'm going to end with this. And I'm talking to you, Kendon. I'm talking to you. Because this is coming from a legal perspective to you. With your treasonous, seditious self. Taking the so-called second office to the Sultan for your protections and your ankle monitor. And I don't care if you got one on. The point is that you were not transparent with everybody. Fully transparent. And you said to Judge Tyrone, where else you gonna go and have a bunch of weed in your car and don't get pulled over? Huh! I go to bed thinking about you, and I wake up thinking about you. We'll end it here. Officer of assault, capital address 5651 Coventry Lane, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46804. Yes, we had to change that address due to the fact that everything was in the internal state of AMPAC. Sultan's degree of nationalization for treason. By the order of His Majesty the Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir, sovereign of the Empire of Morocco, to Kenan Bey, former wazir of the Dimti Mox, take in mind that Abdul Smith Al-Kabir's chief legal officer, I want to read it. I don't want nobody to say, nope, he hasn't even put it down. But I'm going to read you what we're thinking. Yes, I'm telling you what we're thinking. So don't try to use street terms with me, Kendon or Steven. Because I knew you grew up with a mom and a daddy in the house and 3 square meals and a snack. Quit trying to act like you tough, Steven. By his order of His Majesty the Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir, sovereign of the Empire of Morocco, to Kenan Bey, former wazir of Dimti Moxen, the government of the Empire of Morocco, the international community. From His Majesty the Sultan Al-Kabir. We dated this October 24 of 2025, but I can't wait for the current date for you to get this. We got other important things to do, but we're getting to you. Revocation of Moroccan nationality for the crime of high treason. This degrees. Where am I at? Sorry, I lost it, Morris. Let me go back. There it is. This degree serves as a formal and irrevocable notice that the individual formerly known as Kenan Bey is hereby stripped of his status as a Moroccan national effective immediately. This action is taken under the absolute sovereign authority vested in our person by the Constitution of the Empire of Morocco and is a direct consequence of your acts of high treason against the empire. Your orchestration and participation in the seditious conspiracy to overthrow the constitutional government constitutes the most severe crime against the state, nullifying the bond of allegiance between you and the Moroccan nation. Having willingly and knowingly betrayed your oath of office and the trust of the Moroccan people, you have demonstrated that your true allegiance lies elsewhere. Investigation confirms that you hold citizenship with the United States of America. Now, therefore, we hereby decree the Moroccan nationality of Kendon Bey is permanently revoked. 2, he is henceforth recognized as a citizen of the United States of America and is the subject of the jurisdiction thereof. 3, he is declared an excluded person from the Empire of Morocco and its territories, barred from re-entry or any claim to the protections of the Moroccan state. Your treason has severed your connection in the empire and its people. For these reasons, you are now a foreigner to the Empire of Morocco. Long live the Moorish Empire and His Majesty the Sultan Al-Kabir, given up under our hand and seal of our office. Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, His Majesty, His Sharifian Majesty, Sovereign of the Sharifian people. I can't wait. I can't wait until we really
That
get
hasn't been
it correct.
enforced yet. It's being considered. What is the uh penalties for treason, Morris?
Death.
Say it again.
Death.
Say it one more time.
Death.
Okay,
Yeah.
Islam. That's civil little mortus now. So at least you'll be alive.
Right.
Right? So you'll just be dead in the eyes of the law because you'll just go back to being a Negro black colored again. It would just be civil little mortus. But you will still get to have your life. But what was done is absolutely egregious and it warrants denationalization. I'd rather not. That's why it's not being enforced. Not pushing a narrative on the matter. Not, I'd rather not. Right? But so therefore what's available is course correction. You know, I try to be fair and flexible. These are extreme measures, though it's warranted. Doesn't have to happen, at least not yet. Give an opportunity for course correction. So MPAC 2.0 has two options. That would be October 1st, 2025, Groundhog's Day. Go back and let's stand before the empire. Accept to your be accountable for your wrongdoings. And at that point, we can have peace. Because, see, Toby has been contacting us seeking peace. And I'm all for peace. Well, you're not going to fork tongue us. You're not going to say, well, we want peace. But what you're really saying is you want us to stay quiet about the exposure of you. No, the expose shall continue. They want us to stay quiet. Don't say much. Don't say nothing. Let's sweep this under the rug. You go your way, we go our way. No. There is no two ways. There is no fork in the road. It's just straight up removal. It's one empire, one sultan, one prime, one speaker, one chief judge. There is no two of each. Let's not cause confusion. Let's not muddy the waters. Let's make the water alkaline. Let's clear the water. Let's keep it clear. Let's keep everything clear. It's only one empire. It's only one sultan. That's Abdul Al-Kabir. That's me. It's only one prime minister. That would be Akil Bey. There is no two of anything. And we are going to continue the expose. You don't get to be the aggressor and turn around and set the terms and conditions for the so-called peace treaty. No, the peace treaty, the condition is set by the sultan, who was the victim of your political aggression. Islam. So the conditions are simple. Own up to your criminality, and we may move forward amicably, keeping in mind that no one who has been stripped or removed will ever regain their title, authority, or immunities. I yield with that, AG.
Islam. Does anybody know what the stolen website is? What's the URL for the stolen?
EOMGOV.com. How do I know? Because I created the website. I built that website, and I was removed from the website. However, you can't hold me hostage. I could care less.
EOMGOV.com.
That's correct. EOMGOV.com. So we have a new website. Thank you, Brother Damien. Y'all can keep that website. EOMGOV.com, good brother. Or you can put, there you go, that's it.
Okay. You see this? Kenan Bey, the second sultan of the Empire of Morocco, took his oath on November 11th. Kenan Bey was not the prime minister of the Empire of Morocco. So the old prime minister of the Empire of Morocco decided he didn't want the position, which is a dereliction of duty. So then they bring up this fraudulent guy, Kenan Bey. Was anybody there for his oath? Was any nationals there for his oath November 11th of 2025?
Heck no, I wasn't there.
Was anybody notified of his oath of November 11th of 2025?
Heck no.
Okay.
No.
This is treason. Abdul Smith Al-Kabir has not fell ill. He put an affidavit of October 1st on the record regarding constitutional breach and sedition that still has not been answered. That was followed up by a fraudulent court proceedings by a so-called former judge who told everybody he would recuse himself, but went on a study session called Impact Study Session of 175 and talked about the case after he recused himself. Islam and power to the people. Long live the empire and His Majesty the Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. Peace. I love you all.
Long live the empire and His Majesty the Sultan.
Long live the empire and His Majesty the
Long live
Sultan.
the empire and His Majesty the Sultan.
Let's get it.
The empire, the majesty, and the sultan.
Let it